I'm Vicki. I'm a 75-year-old artist, and the reason I'm coming clean on that now is because I realized that I've been an artist for 64 years, and I thought that my story needed to be told, the ins and outs of being a lifetime artist from the time I was 11 years old until now when I'm 75. So I started out starting painting when I was 11 years old. I had a wonderful teacher, a mentor, who I studied under from the time I was 11 until the time I was 18, and then went on to the University of Texas. I'm in one of my studios that I call my sanctuaries. This is where I create, and I'm very spiritual, and it comes from that. But those are stories for another time. What I want to give you now is my background. I started painting when I was 11 years old and studied under a fabulous art teacher. So the painting in back of me is actually the first painting I did when I was 11. After that, I kept studying with Ruth Mogford until I was 18 years old, and then I went on to the University of Texas. Now, in between that time, when I was 14 years old, I won Best of Show with a group of artists that were all adults. There were 50 other artists in the show, and I was the only kid, and I won Best of Show. From then on, I was thought of as a child prodigy. And I kept winning awards all the way through my teenage years. It was wonderful. It was really amazing. So anyway, then I go on to the University of Texas, and I have my first show, my first one-person show when I'm 22 years old in Austin. And one of my professors sent over an architect to look at my work. He came into the gallery and was quiet, looked around, and then a few minutes later he said to me, "I have a project for you. I would like you to do an 8-foot by 12-foot painting at a resort that we're building. Are you up for the job?" And I said, "Well, yeah, sure, I'm up for the job. Let's go." So I did that job. It was wonderful, a lot of fun. I lived in an old house, or my husband and I, lived in an old house in the Castle Hill neighborhood, and we had a wonderful landlord who gave me the attic to use as my studio. The attic was huge with big windows in it, lots of light. The problem was getting everything up there because I think I had to go through the house and up a ladder actually to get to that space. But it was wonderful. It was a blessing that he gave me that space. So that was the first big break that I had as an artist. So one of the wonderful things that I learned about when I was doing that large painting is that I had a vision of what I wanted to do. And the professor who recommended the architect see my work was also the same professor who taught my class, and I imagine many more classes, how to lower our brain waves to alpha, which is the most relaxed, most creative brain state to be in, and it really allows the creativity to flow. Now, he was doing that, saying that it provided access to our subconscious minds, which it does, but it also, for me, opened up the whole spiritual realm. And I'm very new at this time, so I don't understand exactly the process and what's going on at all. I appreciated it tremendously because I had this vision that I was able to verbalize with the architect. There you go, right? And he agreed with everything I said. And so I was doing proposed to do a poured painting, which also was taught to me by that same professor. He was really instrumental in my life and didn't really know it. He didn't really know it, how much. I mean, I talked to him later, but you know. So anyway, I'm doing a poured painting, and I decided that the best way to do this was to use 4 canvases that were 4 feet by 6 feet and put them together. And then I was going to pour modeling paste in a circle around and through the canvases on the floor. And then when that dried, I was going to start pouring the paint. Now, at that time, acrylics had just come out, and they really weren't very good, I didn't think. I didn't appreciate them then. So I decided that I was going to do oil mixed with Damar varnish. And Damar varnish and oil together make this incredible substance that's clear but colored, and it shines. I like shiny things. I always have liked shiny things. So, and then I thought, okay, the color palette that they were using for the furniture and carpet and walls and all in that resort were basically primary colors. But so I added to the primary colors. The primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. And so I combined, of course, those primary colors, and I added purple and green, mostly a lime green. But anyway, all of this came to me. I was able to visualize exactly what I wanted to do and exactly how I wanted it to turn out. And our architect agreed with me. And so it was done. The painting was done. Everything was fine. The architect had come to see it, loved it. So everything was going along fine. So the owner of the resort decided that they didn't want the painting, that they were going to put a large logo on this huge wall that the painting was going on instead of the painting. Well, I'm devastated. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all this work, I'm not going to get paid. I'm not going to have my work exposed like I wanted it to. What's going to happen? Well, the architect came back to me and said that he was going to buy the painting. He had a very contemporary house, and he had a huge wall in the house that the painting would look perfect on. And so that's what happened. So he bought the painting, and then he threw this enormous signing party, bringing all the poopah from the city of Austin and from the university and the architects, and had this huge signing party for me. It was amazing, but it also scared me to death. I didn't like being the center of attention at all. It really scared me. So I was supposed to speak in front of the painting and explain it. And I was also going to sign the painting after I did that. Well, it was getting to be about time for me to do that. And I went upstairs and threw up. I was terrified, totally terrified. But you got to remember, I'm only 22 years old. and I'd been mildly in the center of attention for things, but nothing like this. So anyway, I went and threw up. And then I was okay after that, came back down, and I did my spiel, and I signed it, and it was wonderful. And the painting remained in that house. So there you go. That's the first thing. First story, second story, however many stories I've told you already. But this channel is going to be about that. It's going to be about me painting and how I paint and use spirit. Now, my other channel, The Healing Artist, is, I started out with that 3 years ago. I have 430 videos on it at this point, and it's a variety of things that has morphed into a spiritual venue. So that's why I'm switching over to this, which is the artist's journey. So the artist's journey is a long one. So far it's 64 years. I hope it goes on a lot longer. We never know. We'll get into those things later. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you look for it. And come along with me for this incredible experience of 64 years in the art world. And I survived. I'm still here. So this channel, The Artist's Journey, is about the artist, the woman, and her soul. So please join me weekly for The Artist's Journey.